Hello everybody, my name is Maria Christina, and today I'll be talking you through sword dance. So I'll just start right from the beginning. We start with this. You have the D and the A string together, and you have your bow on both strings, right? And you have this lightness. And you have down, up, up, down, and you have a little bit of separation between your up bows. I'll just be giving you some quick pointers in this piece, and if you have any questions, you can let me know. You can ask your teacher, but I'll just be going through things like this. So we'll have the, and then at 5, we have a melody, right? So if you were to have this piece stuck in your head, this is probably what you'd remember. You'd remember this melody. You might not remember things that are happening beneath the melody, the kind of background layers of the music. You'd remember, and that's the cello melody. The cello has the melody right from the beginning. You want to make sure you know this. You want to make sure you're heard. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through the notes. So we start with a D. Always make sure you know what your notes you're playing. Otherwise you'll be confused. You won't be able to read music. You have to kind of internalize where you are on the cello. So if you want to say these notes with me, we have D, E, and then we have an F sharp, 2 F sharps. If you look at the beginning of the line, where there's the bass clef, you have the 2 sharps, the 2 hashtags, and one of them is on the F line. So what that means is that you're playing an F sharp. So on the cello, an F sharp on the D string is a 3. If you have an F natural, you have a 2. You have a 3. So we're using 3 throughout the whole piece because of that sharp at the beginning of every line. So just make sure you always have 3. If you see an F, you have F sharp. Just remember that. So we have G, G, and then we have F or F sharp, E, E, D, E, F sharp, G, G, F sharp, E, F sharp, D, E, E. Just going through that again. And then basically the same thing happens at measure 9. Except now we go. So you have this ending. You have this little ending. Instead of before you had. So that little ending at measure 11 is F sharp, D, E, E, D, D. So if you need to write this out, you have from the beginning at 5, 0, 1, 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, 1, 3, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 3, 3, 4, 4, 3, 0, 1, 1, 0, 0 on the D string. Now at 13, you play the same thing, except now it's softer, and you know that because of the little P below the measure, that means piano, soft, so. So it's very quieter, whereas before at 5, don't be afraid to really play loudly, you play it out, and then that kind of carries us through 21. So at 21, we have quarter notes. What do we start with? We start with a D. So that's going to be open D string. And at 24, we have this, it's a little scale, right? So start on the A string. It's going to be open A string, so you can put a 0 there as you're fingering. And then G, F or F sharp, it's a 3, F sharp, E, D, A, G, F sharp, E, D. Now, if you're having trouble kind of getting it smooth, you can try and play it slowly. Or you can try and play it breaking it up, making sure you get that A to D connection. bringing your arm just a little bit back. Or you can try playing it in little rhythms. And then soon you'll be able to just play. So at 27, you noticed you have to use this A, so it's an A on the G string. Just have your first finger on the G string. So if we go from 21, it's, sorry, that's out of tune. And 29, we have the kind of open chords again. But if you see anything that's different, you'll notice that instead of having only D and A, at 32 you have an E. So as we said before, an E is the first finger on the D string. So at 32 you have an E and an A. So the main thing I'll say is that you want to make sure that your first finger is kind of, you might see this as maybe like a C. You have it kind of curved, and you're not touching the A string. You have your first finger only on the D string, and the A string is able to ring. You don't want to, that is not written, it's going to be out of tune, it's going to be, it's not going to be right. So at 29 we have, so you kind of have that first finger and then the A. What might be helpful if you think you might forget that you have to put your first finger there, is just write it in. You can have, for A and E, you can put above it 0 and 1. So because you have a 0, your open A string is 0, and then 1 on the D string. So that should kind of help a little bit with the chords if you were struggling with that. Another thing to make sure is that you're going down to the G strings, D and A, D and G, D and A, E and A. So you always have your bow on the D string. You never have to bring it off the D string. So just keep that in mind. Now at 37, what happens is the violins go dun 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 dun, the violins and viola, and then the cellos and basses go. Now, does that sound familiar? Because it's exactly what you played in the beginning. Except now the violins and viola say one part and we say the other part. So it's a little bit like a conversation. So they go da 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 da. So you want to keep in mind that there's a little bit of a dialogue going on. And that happens throughout that area. If you really want to listen to this piece and make sure you understand what's going on with the other instruments so that you can effectively know where to come in, how to come in, kind of what you're doing in the orchestra. So I'm going to skip a little bit ahead to 53. Now always keep in mind, know the notes, I just want to say it again, know what notes you're playing, put fingerings in if you have to, say the notes to yourself, and then everything will come from there. So at 53, we have what says pizzicato, which means you're plucking the string, the P-I-Z-Z. And actually here, everybody has pizzicato. So everybody's plucking their strings in the string orchestra. So do you think you'd want to pluck up here, all the way down here where your bow would be, or somewhere like in the middle? Well, you might think one might sound better than the other, I'm not sure. But in reality, what usually cellists will do is they'll pluck kind of at the end of the fingerboard of this black strip. You'll pluck right above where your bow might go. So if you can see, I don't know if you can see it, there's a lot of rosin from my bow from times I've played up here. Probably not the best place to use your bow, but you might have some rosin, the white stuff up here, kind of right above where those lines of rosin are on my cello. I don't know if you can see that, but that's where I'm plucking the string. So you can hold your bow and use your, I guess, your first finger or your third finger, or I guess, yeah, your index finger or your middle finger. So, or you can, and one thing you want to make sure of is that you're not pulling it down. You want to lift a little bit. It kind of breathes. It's dynamic. It's up, 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 and then this should sound familiar. We played it before, except with the bow. Right. So that's the pizzicato technique. You'll probably use that a lot in orchestra. I know it's getting long. It's 11 minutes, but almost done. At 61, you have a melody again, and you're still using pizzicato. So what note did I start on? That's an A. So that's an open A string, and then we have 1, A, G, G, B, A, G, G, F or F sharp, E, F sharp, G, A, B, A, G, G, F sharp, D, E, E, D, D. So it's different because you're not using the bow, so it's not going to be as loud, but everybody is pizzicato. You're going to be heard. It's kind of a singing voice that you want to make sure is heard. So if we play it up to speed, it's going to be... So that's a pizzicato area, that whole 2 lines. You want to make sure you're comfortable with plucking, with going from the bow to the string with your fingers and plucking them. And that kind of just comes with repetition, just keep going back and forth and thinking about where you're plucking on the string. So we're getting to the end at 69. We have the open strings again. We do have the E in parts of it, but what we also have is at 70 we have a B. So the B is on the A string. So instead of E and open A, first finger and open A, we have first finger on the A string and open D. So if that's confusing for you, you can write in fingerings. You can have 0, 0 for measure 69, and then 1, 0 kind of stacked on top of each other like the notes are. 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, because it's going to be at 72, A and E, so 1 on the D string. So that should help a little bit. Always keep in mind again to have kind of a curved finger with the first finger on the D string, not to press other fingers down, and to keep your bow on both strings. And so then at 77, we're a little faster because we have 8th notes. So if you're struggling with that kind of speed, you can practice it slowly. Or you can practice one measure at a time. And with that, you can think, okay, open, open, and then where am I going? I'm going down, back up, and I think, okay, now my fingers have to press, my first finger has to be on the D string, and so if you kind of break it up like that, you'll have little chunks that you can put together and right, so it's a little bit of a strategy to practice that. And then at the end we have Pizz, P-I-Z-Z, pluck it, and we end with the bow. Arco means bow. I forgot to mention that earlier. At 69, we start using the bow. So at the end. So that's basically a quick run through of the piece. Make sure you want to practice it and know what notes you're playing, as I've said before, what rhythms you're playing, if you're using the bow or if you're plucking. And you can always write all of that in, write it all over, so you can remember it while you play it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run through the piece so you can hear just this cello part alone. You can find recordings on YouTube, but I'll just run it through. And then if you want to play it along with me, you can, and then that'll be it. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it helped a little bit. If you have any questions, you can ask your teacher. You can ask them to ask me. Do you have any specific questions about this video? So I hope that helps. And yeah, let me know. Thank you.